realized like it starts with self. So if I don't change myself, then how would I change the outcome of my life? Because at that moment, my life was in the hands of people who I didn't know, didn't care about me, so I had to try to change the way I thought so I could be able to change the outlook of other people looking at me and judging me so I could get the help that I need to be able to come home, earlier than expected.
From WLWT, this is Let's Talk Cincy, presented by Western and Southern Financial Group. Put our financial strength behind you.
Imagine being 19 years old and being found guilty of murder and sentenced to 18 years to life in prison for a crime you say you did not commit. That is the journey of the person's story I want to share with you today. Hello, everyone. I'm Curtis Fuller, and welcome to Let's Talk Cincy. Kayed Salam is 35 years old right now, and he wrote a book called Done All the Time. He knows the consequences from the choices folks make when they try to navigate life in the streets. He's been a victim of gunfire, and he was once convicted of murder.
My parole board date wasn't scheduled until January of 2024. So I would have still been in prison if it wasn't for the Ohio Justice and Policy Center coming in and taking over my case and really looking into it and helping me out with my freedom and my innocence, basically.
35-year-old Kayed Salam is enjoying freedom after serving 13 years behind bars. When he was a teenager, he was convicted of murder and robbery and sentenced to 18 years to life. Now, he tells his story to young people, how their choices have consequences.
I believe now that because my name was out there in the streets, like I was a shooter or this and that, and people just hearing about me or whatever, being able to hold my own, that they just ran with it. It's believable. And that's some of the things that I believe needs to be out there to the youth as far as hanging around the wrong people and your name being attached to people who are really doing what they're doing.
He tells me he's been shot 3 times, hanging with the wrong crowd.
Some guy just opened fire on us, and I got hit in my arm first, and then as I was running away, he shot 2 of my friends that I ran past and then hit me in the back.
He says it saddens him when he hears about a drive-by that led to the death of a 9-year-old girl. He says the streets are getting meaner, largely because of the glorification of crime in movies and music.
When you come back to reality, which is your life and what goes on day to day, you shouldn't live that lifestyle because of the fact that you are actually killing people, and the people that you glorifying and looking up to, they're not killing anybody.
Take me back to 2006, right around 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
You're a young man in your teens.
So late 2006, I was arrested for a aggravated robbery and felonious assault at Martin Luther King Park. And when I was arrested there, the detectives said that I was shooting at her, and also I had robbed a confidential informant of theirs. And he actually was in the back of the police car pointing at me, saying that I was the one that shot at him, which was a complete lie. I was arrested on the scene, taken to District 4 for questioning. And when they were questioning me, I'm like, you got the wrong person. Before I even left the scene, the witnesses were actually saying that they had the wrong person. So, I'm cooperating. I'm like, listen, I don't know who shot who. Like, I was just standing in the park and the shooting happened, man. Like, but y'all saying I'm the shooter. Go ahead and do the gunshot residue kit right now since y'all got me on the scene. And they were so eager. Yeah, come on, listen. So, I gave them my hands, let them do the gunshot residue kit. And while I was sitting in the county for that charge to, be processed or whatever, maybe 2 weeks into me being in the county, homicide detectives came to question me about a murder that happened in Walnut Hills over there by Gilbert, so in the projects. I'm like, well, what are y'all questioning me about this for? Like, I don't know anything about this. I wasn't involved in any murder. I wasn't around any murder, so I don't know what y'all talking about. And unfortunately, they still went ahead and indicted me due to another guy saying
And
that,
they indicted you for murder.
yes, so they indicted me for murder, and my charges ran from aggravated murder, murder A, murder B, aggravated robbery, and robbery. So I have 5 felony 1 counts on that indictment.
Unfortunately, you were rolling with a crowd
Yes.
that if you had it to do over again, you wouldn't.
Yeah, I would have stuck to football or something, for real.
And sadly, as a result of some of your choices,
Mm-hmm.
you were shot 3 times.
Yeah, so 2006 was a wild year. So it was Easter 2006, actually. Me and a group of friends were in Burger King parking lot across the street from the Ponciana Apartments in Avondale. And we were, getting ready to go out for Easter and stuff. And some guy actually the police was rolling up towards us first. And then some guy, I had my back turned to the street, and some guy just opened fire on us, and I got hit in my arm first. And then as I was running away, he shot 2 of my friends that I ran past, and then hit me in the back, and then hit one of my friends who were in the area that I was running towards. So it was 4 of us that got shot that day. I got hit in my arm and my back. And then maybe September-ish, I got shot again in the leg due to an attempted robbery on myself. So yeah, 06 was a wild year in Avondale for myself.
Up next, what Qaid had to admit in court to gain his freedom, and the emotion he felt the moment he walked out of prison after 13 years behind bars. When Let's Talk Cincy continues. I want people to know, ultimately, you were convicted and sentenced to 18 years to life.
Yes.
I mean, 18 years to life.
Yes. It was an eye-opener.
I can only imagine.
Yes.
I can't imagine what happens as you're standing there in court and the judge hands down a sentence of 18 years to life. At the earliest, you're 19 at the time, so
I would have still been locked up waiting on the parole board.
Yeah.
Like my parole board date wasn't scheduled until January of 2024. So I would have still been in prison if it wasn't for the Ohio Justice and Policy Center coming in and taking over my case and really looking into it and helping me out with my freedom.
Yeah, and that was 2019, right? 2020.
So 2020 was when I got released.
When you finally got released.
Yes.
And I know that that was a 7-year period from the time that you first were introduced to the Ohio Justice and Policy Center. And then, 7 years later.
Yeah, so it definitely takes time in some cases. And I mean, people just have to be patient with dealing with stuff like that because, it's easy for the court systems to, get you in there and process you and lock you up. But they will fight tooth and nail before they get you, ready or able to be released.
A couple of other things. I want you to explain how you were able to get out, in the sense that you had to initially accept a lower charge. And then you were released based on the time served.
In 2020, I was brought back to the Justice Center to be resentenced. And the resentencing hearing was for a manslaughter charge, which I had to plead out to, so they would drop the murder charge that I was convicted of. And I had to plead out to that basically because I feel, for real, is that they didn't want to acknowledge the fact that they were wrong with the conviction that they gave me based on the lack of evidence. No gun was found. It was a female victim that got grazed at the scene, and they never asked her any questions about me. So it was just like a poor investigation. I can remember when my court appearances were first beginning, and the detective handed the prosecutor my file, and she glanced over it, and she immediately turned around to the detective and said, "This is all you have?" Like, and he was like, "Yeah." So, you know, it was just telltale signs from the beginning that it was just a very weak case, and, you know, they just wanted a conviction so they could close the case.
I can imagine when you walked out of jail after serving 13 years. Tell me, give me your perspective of what it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, it was a whole bunch of emotions. At first, I was, you know, overjoyed because I knew I was finally going home and I wouldn't, you know, have to face the brutality of the parole board. And, you know, it was a little nervousness because I've been gone so long. So it's like, you know, you got to be mentally prepared, you know, to adjust to a decade and almost a half, you know, of being out of society. So, I mean, I pretty much prepared myself as far as, you know, staying in touch with people on the outs and doing a lot of programs and stuff in prison with people who actually have nonprofit organizations out here, you know, in the community. So I pretty much like just stayed in tune with community work and stuff like that while I was incarcerated to help my transition back into society, really.
And still ahead, how Qaid is helping incarcerated men fight for their own freedom when Let's Talk Cincy returns. Everyone says they're innocent.
Right.
But not everyone is innocent.
Right, true indeed.
But those who are, you're able to now introduce.
Reach back and help, yeah. So guys that I've been locked up with that I personally know are innocent or, you know, been overcharged and oversentenced, I've kind of helped them with the process that I went through the Ohio Justice and Policy Center, which started a program called Beyond Guilt, and that's initially how I got out through that program. So I reached back.
You were one of the first.
Yeah, I think I was like number 9 or 8, you know, out of 40 something now that he's been able to, what the organization has been able to get out. And so yeah, since I've been home, I've been reaching back and giving those names to the lawyers and stuff, and they've been going into the prison and starting to work on their case too, so.
You must shake your head when you hear about the stories that we report, the sad stories. You know, a 9-year-old girl inside her home, drive-by shooting.
Yes.
All of these things that you see,
Yes.
You've been there and done some of this.
Yeah.
And so as you talk to young people, I saw you talking to a group of young people recently. Do they get it? You talked about the glorification of this stuff.
It's like the youth in this generation now were raised in a like bubble of drill rap. So it's like more guns, less fighting. And you know, the parents that are my age now with the kids that are committing these crimes or whatever, it's the fact that they grew up not knowing the reality of, you know, this is entertainment, really. The music is just pure entertainment. And it's cool, you know, to rap along, dance to it, whatever, but when you come back to reality, which is your life and what goes on day to day, you shouldn't live that lifestyle because of the fact that you are actually killing people, and the people that you glorifying and looking up to, they're not killing anybody. They're just making money off of exploiting your ignorance, basically. So people have to know that, the difference between that.
You told me you know the family of the 9-year-old girl. And
so I know like her cousins and a few of her family members, yeah, like that. One of my friends actually posted something the next morning, and I messaged him and asked him like what's going on, and he told me that somebody killed his little cousin. And then I started seeing more posts and stuff about the situation on Facebook and realized what had happened. You know, it's just sad to hear that basically somebody else was the intended target, and, you know, unfortunately she lost her life. So
a target that they would shoot 30 rounds into a home.
Yeah.
and bullets that would pierce the wall. It's outrageous. You have a child, another on the way.
Yes, sir.
You must worry, as all parents do, the world that they're
Coming into.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, all you could do is, pray, guidance, try to set examples and give solutions to your children, basically on how to deal with situations. I mean, and kind of, as much as a person would force the music and, keep the music on repeat, you have to keep the example of being a positive person in your community on repeat too. Because if you don't, then these type of situations will, reoccur all the time.
Yeah, very interesting journey. Kayed and his mother wrote a book. It's called Done All the Time. Again, if you want to find out more information about his journey, his story, you can find that book on Amazon. Up next, we'll talk with the Deputy Director of the Ohio Justice and Policy Center, the organization that helped Kayed gain his freedom, when Let's Talk Cincy returns. Welcome back, everyone. In 2019, the Ohio Justice and Policy Center launched a statewide advocacy project called Beyond Guilt. Now, this project presents some interesting questions to the legal system and the public. I sat down with the Deputy Director of OJPC. Her name is Latoya Bell. We had a very frank conversation about the Beyond Guilt program, misconceptions some might have about the mission of this project, and its success so far. We also discussed a law that was passed a couple of years ago called Senate Bill 256 that addresses the issue of sentencing for a person who was under the age of 18 when he or she committed a crime. But we began our conversation with Attorney Bell sharing her thoughts about the case of Kayed Salam.
So he was charged with murder and was offered an opportunity to plead to a lesser charge of manslaughter. And so that is how he was able to get released on a lesser charge with time served, but he still has a conviction. It's just not a murder conviction. The difference in sanction is that he was not required to register as a violent offender with the manslaughter charge. Had he been released on the murder conviction, he would have. So the Beyond Guilt program is the antithesis of the Innocence Project. The Innocence Project focuses on exonerating individuals who were wrongly convicted. Beyond Guilt addresses individuals who actually acknowledge responsibility and guilt for their actions and have been over-sentenced. They're serving significant sentences, incarcerated, but have demonstrated through their actions that they can be released into society safely. And so that's the effort, that's the program's focus. Eligibility are individuals who've been sentenced to a minimum of 20 years with a life tail, means a life sentence. Violent offenders. Again, the focus on this population is individuals who aren't claiming innocence, acknowledge responsibility and accountability for their wrongdoings, for their actions, but can demonstrate through their activities and their programming and behavior that they can and are suitable for release from incarceration. They have to have at least 5 years remaining on their sentence because of the time and effort that it takes to prepare them for their parole board hearing. Like anything, once you start, then there's an overwhelming demand. And so we are up to now about 80 active cases. We've had maybe 41 people released, and we have some people pending right now who've had hearings and their determinations have come back for the parole board. So success is relative. Even if we just got one, that's one more person serving less time than they would have been originally. So ironically enough, this marks 50 years of mass incarceration, which means there has been, since 1973, a huge spike in the prison population. And the issues and problems that people are going to prison for haven't stopped. So what have we fixed by incarcerating individuals with these lengthy sentences? The problems are still here. And I think one of the challenges is, can you care about public safety and balance that with punishment and accountability? You can. We have individuals who have served 30, 40, 50 years for crimes that individuals now aren't getting sentenced to that. And so again, what are we fixing? We're not fixing anything by incarcerating people for 60 years because the violence still continues. And the underlying issues that result in people acting out in this way, the poverty, the mental health, the addiction, doesn't go away with incarceration. And so what are we trying to accomplish by charging and sentencing individuals? Because we haven't fixed the root causes of the issue. It is still a disproportionate number of Black and brown individuals from impoverished neighborhoods entering into the system and being sentenced to lengthy sentences compared to their white counterparts. Senate Bill 256 allowed individuals who committed crimes under the age of 18 but were sentenced to life without parole and eligibility for parole hearing sooner. This was established in legislation in 2021. And again, these are individuals who, because of their age and immaturity, acted out, committed crimes, were sentenced as juveniles through the adult system. And before that, they weren't eligible for parole or getting parole hearings. Now with the 256 hearings, we've been able to get in and help them prepare for their parole hearings and get a significant number of them released. So what we do with helping individuals for the parole board is package why they should be determined suitable for release. And there are factors that the parole board have to consider. And so what we do is we write memos if we're representing them to articulate the programming that they've took relative to their rehabilitation. We explain their institutional record, which is their conduct while they were incarcerated. They're individuals who've been there for 30, 40 years and have never had an infraction. That demonstrates suitability for release. If there was substance abuse or mental health issues that they weren't getting treated while they were out and it led to their crime, they're getting the mental health counseling and an addiction treatment and support while they're in. And so if part of prison is deterrence, but also rehabilitation, if they've taken the steps to rehabilitate themselves, especially if they committed this crime at under 18 when they were still figuring themselves out and life out, and their home life probably was very difficult and challenging. If they've taken these steps, why are we really holding them still in prison?
Well, an interesting topic today. And of course, we want to hear from you. You can email us your ideas at ltc@wlwt.com. And remember, you can always watch full episodes or get more information on wlwt.com/Let's Talk Cincy. Also on our very local app. You can also listen to Let's Talk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Well, that does it for the program today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Curtis Fuller. I'll see you next time for another edition of Let's Talk Cincy.